for your daily monologue. I got 13,000 views on my free writer's workshop video that I did yesterday, which is good because we're talking about a very minuscule part of the population that wants to write. I want my people, you guys, to get out there and get everybody to come and watch these YouTubes and to participate in the exercises I give you, because they're going to make you a better writer, and they're going to help you to be a better communicator, which is as important as any skill for most people. In most people's lives, it's as important as anything, being able to communicate effectively. Okay? I got a chuckle out of the daily headlines, Oprah and her white privilege. I wrote this poem, man, and I recited it to you, and I'll tell you basically the content of the poem, because I don't take time to dig it out. It talks about how I represented, as a injury lawyer, people that were so downtrodden that they would go to the zoo to find someone they could look down on, a monkey or chimpanzee. And this is, so I remember this poem as I'm listening to Winfrey, because she says, no matter how trashy and scummy a white person is, they can always say, well, at least I'm not a African American. There's something lower than me, okay? And this bothers Oprah. Well, what are we going to do about it? See, what can we do about this? There's an insidious state of affairs. Oprah, what do you suggest we do about this? Oh, God. It's so funny. Imagine being worth $2 billion because other women like you. They just like you, They want to visit with Oprah every morning, see, and be part of Oprah's book club, and read Jonathan Francis Freedom. They want this Oprah experience, and O'Reilly said Oprah's great talent is she's a communicator. No, that's just part of it. She is ingratiating, and she's attractive, magnetic for other women. Okay. What kind of women? Let's not talk about that. But she has a mass appeal to the masses. Okay? Black and white. The more you think about things, the more you understand them. I mean, what was her appeal exactly? Well, what kind of women were these? I bet you any money that they were women that didn't have a friend. Americans are extremely isolated, and Oprah was ingratiating and open, and everybody's friend. Okay. Yeah, I think there is such a thing as white privilege, but it's nothing like she's talking about. The phenomenon of black people saying, or white people seeing black people as inferior. Okay? That's not part of my white privilege at all. That's been going on, since Moses Maimonides. in was it the 11th century? You know, this is a great Jewish scholar, probably the most famous, beloved Jewish rabbi of all times, Moses Maimonides. He wrote a bestseller that's been a bestseller for 1,000 years called A Guide for the Perplexed. You know, and he and the other great rabbi or rebbe or what, you know, of his time, I can't think of his name. They both wrote tracts about blacks, in which they said that, well, Moses Maimonides said that blacks were somewhere on the scale between whites and apes, and that they did not deserve the rank of human. They were not human. Okay, so this, I don't agree with this, of course, but see, this has been, this attitude towards blacks has obtained since you know, the two races came into contact. I mean, whites have historically considered blacks inferior. Okay, you know, it could be. They've done this for so long and so consistently. This could be something that's organic, that's in the white DNA. Okay. I think a lot of the problem today is that whites are so dominant in our society that they affect black sensibility, so that blacks see other blacks that look less like George Floyd. No. They look less like him and more like Cary Grant. See, and so they you know, they're more favored. Let's say blacks that satisfy the white canons of beauty. See. Yeah, so as a result, for every black celebrity that has white girlfriends, you know, for every 10 there might be one that has a black girlfriend or wife. I mean, well, I don't know if that's exactly correct, but I mean, there's this tendency, see, because of the dominance of the white race in the society. You know, I mean, they've been the majority, and they used to be absolutely, completely dominated the society. I mean, blacks used to be very peripheral, and the ones that were acceptable to whites, you know, like Harry Belafonte and the Ink Spots, and you know, that acted dignified, talked standard English. See, these are the ones that were approved and were successful. They were celebrities, stars, etc. Okay? There are exceptions. You know, the little guy that was a tap dancer, had the glass eye. God, I can't remember his name. You know what I'm talking about. Well, one of the Rat Pack, they made an exception for him. He was nothing. There was nothing nice to look at. It'll come to me. Yeah. So yeah. This preferring white people preferring their own race. You know, I mean, isn't this biological? I mean, this is, yeah. I mean, there's a principle of assortative mating in biology that, like like tends to mate with like. Okay? So this is clearly something that's got to be biological. And whites benefit from the fact that they are preferred by whites to blacks. But this has been overcome to a large extent by affirmative action. I would say it's been more than overcome. I mean, in the important segment of life, which is vocation, your work, you know, my God, if you're lucky enough to be a gifted black person in this society, man, you're set. You know, I mean, Barack Obama was a community organizer. He was nothing, socioeconomically, no status at all. But he was very gifted, very charismatic. He became president based on this. I don't think he he had not been a senator or anything like that. He had just been a community organizer. See, so if you are a gifted black, if you're an attractive black, you know, with high IQ, I'll give you an example. Thomas Sowell, you know, he's accepted, university accepted, and popular, famous. Yeah? Thomas Sowell, I pronounce it. Ben Carson, see? Yeah, but we have but blacks have a very serious problem, which is unmentionable. Okay, it's unmentionable. I saw Jordan Peterson. You know, he decided he was going to talk about racial IQ differences, and then when he got down to the subject, he said, "Oh, you get killed if you talk about this." And so he didn't talk about it, and his YouTube said it was about racial IQ differences. I'm not as impressed by IQ as I am with intelligence, which I explain in my YouTubes are two different things. Okay, I think that a little bit of IQ goes a long way. Okay, I mean, how much cognitive function did I need, okay, to solve the little problem that I had of creating a direct mailing envelope in which the word advertisement in one size larger print disappeared. I do a YouTube on it. Okay? I mean, how much cognitive function did I need to do that? I mean, I needed to draw on different areas, you know, different types of cognitive function. I had to know that what the significance of the different parts of the envelope, you know, the address, you know, my address up at the top there on the left-hand side. I had to know that, and I had to know. I had to know enough to experiment a little bit, you know, with the problem, how to make the problem go away. And it took me all 30 seconds to find the answer, and nobody ever saw what I was doing. And this 30 seconds of thought, I mean, how much IQ do you need to figure something out like that in 30 seconds? See, so a little IQ goes a long way if you have intelligence, and intelligence is the talent to use various cognitive functions. A function is like mathematic, verbal, spatial. See? And then you have to have memory. Okay, but how much IQ do you need to figure out what I figured out in 30 seconds? Couldn't have been very much if I figured this out in 30 seconds. What did I have that the other 100 attorneys didn't have? Okay, I had something they didn't have: high, great intelligence, which is like a talent. See. So I think that if you have even a 100 IQ, there's probably a lot of things you can do if you focus on them. Maybe I'm wrong. See, the big problem is my theory of genetic obsolescence and the fact that we're living in a predatory society. It's outsmarting us. I mean, you got 100 IQ, you got 110 IQ, okay? Or how about all the society with thousands of people with 120, 30, and 40 IQs trying to figure out how to separate you from your money? See? You could end up with your 110 IQ, as a slave in the Church of Scientology. You could end up selling pot and getting busted. And there's a million stupid things that you could end up doing because you're persuaded to do that, by the world you live in. The world you live in outsmarts you. 110 IQ is not going to cut it, really. You're not going to die rich with 110 IQ. Yeah. You really need a pretty high IQ to flourish in this society. Everybody watching me, I bet the average IQ of the people watching me is over 120. Okay, because other people are not interested in what I have to say. They're interested in watching Oprah Winfrey, for example, the women. They're interested in all kinds of dumbass things, or just distracting themselves all day with video games, or watching Netflix. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's get back on this Writer's Workshop thing. I want everybody to participate in the Writer's Workshop, whether you plan to write novels or not, just to improve your writing ability, your ability to communicate ideas, okay? Thoughts, images. Okay? I gave you an assignment yesterday. You better be working on it. And if you're new to my YouTubes, I'll recap it very quickly. Your assignment is to read a short story. It's not going to take you 15, 20 minutes. And it's really a lot of fun. It's one of his best. And it's online. That's how good it is. All you got to do is type in the Jewels of M. Lantin, Lantin. Come right up. I want you to read that. Okay? Try to internalize it. Ponder it. Let it ferment in your unconscious. Then I want you to write an updated version. Put in your milieu. Okay, your time and place. You're going to invent characters, probably based on people you know, who are going to do the same things as Guy de Maupassant's characters do. Okay? And you're going to have the exact same little plot, which is a great plot. Maybe if I tell people the plot, that'll get them interested. Anyway, this young government worker, Monsieur Lantin, 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 he falls in love with a young woman who comes from sort of a fallen petty bourgeois family, whose father died, and her family's very happy that he marries her. She's very beautiful. He falls in love with her, but she has a foible. She loves costume jewelry, and she starts accumulating. And he says, this is all very tawdry stuff. What do you want to wear this tawdry costume jewelry for? When your own beauty, far outshines it, right? He does this in a very eloquent French manner. Guy de Maupassant, presents all of this, right? Okay, so they live happily, but not ever after, she dies. And he finds that there's something wrong. He can't live on his income anymore. What happened? You know, they were living high on the hog, and he ascribed this to her skills as a home economist. So he's brokered in 10 jokers, and he looks around for what the hell can he sell or pawn to pay the rent, and he sees this velvet sack full of costume jewelry. He thinks, well, it must be worth something. So he takes it to a jeweler, and the jeweler pulls out a necklace, looks at it under his loupe, and says, would you accept, today's money, $5,000 for this? And the guy laughs and says, well, it's not real. And the jeweler says, it's a very fine piece. And the guy realizes, what happened, what a fool he's been. He grabs a piece and he runs out of the store, jewelry shop. And he now resolves to find the man and kill him, but he gets over that. He doesn't kill anybody. Okay. And he's rich because of this endowment, okay? This inheritance of a trove of valuable jewelry from this wealthy, there's a good word for it, good French word, the old man that shared his wife's favors with M. Lantin. Okay? God, there's a bunch of great French words. I know a little bit of French, but I can't think of it. He was a connoisseur, all right, okay? The old man he was a connoisseur. All right, so now you don't have to read the story because now I gave you the plot. So don't be so lazy that you won't read the story, which is unnecessary. Read a little bit of it. But you got the plot now. All right, so now you put it in our time, in your life, in your time and place, okay? You retell it, okay? After you've done that, I don't care whether it's 20 pages long or 5 pages long, do the best you can. Go crazy, use your imagination. Ben Jonson said, imagination is the soul of art. Yeah, very important. All right, so after you've written this, now it might be great. It'd be a great idea. This is better than my original idea. This assignment. Now you can go and read the Jules and Lantin, and you can compare your version of the story to the original version. Guy de Maupassant. That's spelled Maupassant. I think that's close enough anyway. Guy, G-U-I-E, G-U-Y. Okay, so now you compare yours to Maupassant's. And see what you can learn from Maupassant. See about how you could have expressed yourself better. Maybe you won't learn anything. Then I want you to read the opening passage, which is basically the first chapter of Orpheus in Tampa. And what I do is that I put it in my setting in Tampa, early 20th century, but I change the characters to black characters to disguise it, so nobody will guess that that it has a ghost in it, and nobody has said to me, "Geez, that first chapter of yours, that just sort of gave me the creeps. I mean, there's something really strange about it, Yeah. It's 170 years old. Not that old. Well, maybe. It's around there. So I think it's first half of the 19th century. It's definitely. Okay. So, my theory is, we're going to find out when you do this, but my theory is that this exercise is going to be epiphanic for you. You know, it's going to be full of epiphanies about your own talents and limitations, potential as a writer. Now, can you get this at a writer's workshop at Iowa or UVA or NYU? No, you can't, because this is my original idea. I mean, nobody has written a thriller that as a first chapter that's a retelling of a Guy de Maupassant story. I don't think you'll find that anywhere. Okay? I think I've told the story better than Guy de Maupassant, but I want your ideas about that. I mean, I think my retelling is more vivid. Remember now, Thomas Mann, the novel, substitute art, any kind of art, must delight, enliven, and entertain. I try to enlighten. I try to edify. You know, I try to do all kinds of things in addition to those things. You know, as a bonus, a psychic bonus for the reader. He learns something about the world he lives in. He didn't know. It's interesting. I mean, I want him to do that, you know, in every chapter. I want him to learn something. You know? Remember, my dictum: art must be interesting. Okay? So, just keep internalize those goals. Okay? Internalize them. Every time you sit down to write a story or a novel, you know, keep these things in mind, what you're doing. Okay? You know, you're not being a social justice crusader, you know, like Flannery O'Connor. You know, you're not trying to put people to sleep like Flannery O'Connor, first chapter of Wise Blood. Okay? You're not appealing just to women, you're appealing to everybody. Okay? I mean, as I believe Flannery O'Connor, that's clearly, that appeal is for women. I cannot imagine. You try to read, you guys, try to read the first chapter of Wise Blood. No, don't waste your time. You know, we got too many other things to do. Yeah. So please do this exercise. Whether you want to write short stories or novels or whether you want to be a journalist, whatever. I think it'll be very, very enlightening for you, this exercise. It'll tell you a lot about yourself, because you're going to be comparing yourself with two of the greatest writers in history, Guy and me. It rhymes, Guy and me. And if you compare favorably to either of us, that should tell you something. Hey, you know, you can write, gosh, if I had just written romances when I got out of high school, I'd be richer than Oprah today. I mean, I would dominate. You know. They're formulaic, you know. They're simple-minded. You know, I've always been an idealist, and I want you to live your lives as idealists. I mean, because you only have one life. You're going to live one life as a depraved, shallow, empty, Philistine, okay, a Babbitt. You know, you want to do that? You only got one life now, okay? No. You want to potentiate That's the real thrill that I've gotten out of my life. Okay, yeah, I loved getting multi-million dollar verdicts. Sure, you know, I loved women. I loved everything. Great food. Going to Paris. Painting. I love, you know, but the I want to make you all mini-me's. I want to make you mini-me's that grow up to be me. Okay? By that I mean I want you to become fully realized human beings. And you've all got brains or you wouldn't be listening to me. So let's use what we have, see, to become ourselves. Hermann Hesse said no one completely becomes himself. Well, that was true until me, maybe. That's unfair. What about Leonardo? No. Leonardo, Michelangelo, these guys certainly became themselves fully. And I want you to do that. I mean, that is the greatest joy of life. You know, is doing your best and fulfilling your potential. See? That's what I want you guys to do. I need to combine this maybe with my. No, I already did a monologue. I did my monologue about Oprah, talking about how the lowest white person can look down, does look down on black people, and she calls this white privilege. And so I asked, what could we do about this? Okay. And I remembered my poem, about my clients. They were so downtrodden that they went to the zoo to find somebody they could look down on. They looked down on the chimpanzees and orangutans and so on. So Oprah's bothered by the fact that poor white trash. They still look down on black people. Okay? And that's wrong. So I asked, what are we going to do about this? Oprah, help me. Give me some ideas. Life is so funny. It's so funny. Watching Biden, crash and burn. Is he going to take the DNC with him? That's the question. But no, people are not going to have the guts. The people in the middle of the independents, they're not going to have the guts to, trust their future with this goofus. That's not right. Call him a goofus. He's a senile. He's a fellow 77-year-old, but he's senile as fuck. His IQ must be something like 65 right now. If he took an IQ test, I wonder if he could score 50 on an IQ test. It would surprise me. It would surprise me if he could score 70. It really would. So no, he's going to crash and burn. All my talk about how we were not going. My people are not going to accept a government made up of Dems. I'm sorry. That's the end of democracy. We're not going to accept it. A government that lets cities go up in flames. I think that Trump's doing this on purpose, to show us what the Dems are. But we're not going to accept the Dems. Okay? Before we accept a government that lets Antifa burn down cities, before we accept it, obviously, we're going to impose. We're going to find a champion, somebody like me, and we're going to impose martial law on the country. And we're going to take over the country via a direct democracy, via a democracy. I heard somebody else saying this, talking about direct democracy. So it's not, I'm not the only one that's thinking direct democracy now, how it's our only hope. This is an idea whose time has not come. it has to catch hold, and people have to believe in it, which means they have to believe in themselves. Now, you're going to approve everything I do in advance, which means you've got to get involved in everything. You've got to understand everything that's going on. I mean, every important governmental decision. See, so that's a big job for every citizen. And then you've got to pitch a hand. You got to pitch in. You got to lend a hand. You got to pitch in and replace our vast criminal enterprise, our great black hole of waste and corruption that we call government at all levels. We have levels, okay? We have all these partitions and levels and so on, which is 18th century. It's an 18th century horse and buggy. That's what it is. We need to modernize. But at the same time, we're not letting what do I call them? The Dems. Okay? We're not letting the Dems run the country. I'm sorry, we're not going to do it. I mean, we'll listen to them and let them have input and letting them elect people to the Congress, but we're not going to let the Dems, not these Dems. I mean, the Dems of 20 years ago, sure, we dealt with this. We dealt with Carter, not for long, Jimmy Carter. We dealt with Clinton. Clinton was actually, a successful president. He gave us surpluses. He allowed the dread Chinese to steal all our secrets. Read the Cox report, which has been forgotten. But he did that. He knowingly allowed that. So he was not George Washington, but he was better than W. What a piece of shit W was. God. But nothing compared to what followed. God. All right, so nothing bad's going to happen. No overthrow of the government. Installing Trump, as our dictator for life, Julius Caesar, changing a month of the calendar, naming it after him. We could take July, named after Julius Caesar. We could name it after the month of Trump. Okay, we can name a month after it and make him a dictator for life, like Julius Caesar did. No, that's not going to happen now. I thought it was a real possibility. That's no. The DNC is not reacting quick enough. They don't know what to do. They're in disarray. I mean, they're still talking about Rufus debating Trump. What a hysterical idea. I mean, they really want to crash and burn if they do that. I mean, I see the DNC, coming down in flames, crash. So I mean, this is the funniest thing I've ever witnessed. The most bizarre, unbelievable. You ask yourself, no, this can't be happening. Joe Biden, comparing blacks to making an interesting observation about the difference between blacks and Hispanics. I'm sure they love that. What a goofball. He's probably got a good solid 60 IQ maybe. If you forced him, and you held a gun to his head, made him take an IQ test, score 60. Anyway. Yeah. So let's have fun. Let's enjoy the minute, the moment. But let's also, optimize, okay? Because if you don't do it now, you can look back and you say, hey, maybe I could have done this and done that, And instead, what did I do, Nothing. Miserable. Okay, let's go for broke, okay, guys? Let's go for broke. Please, do my experiment. I want somebody who writes a better Jules of M. Montana than I did. I want to see somebody do that. Come on, there's there's like 2,000 of you guys every day. I mean, let's make that 10,000, you know? And let's find somebody who, hey, I'll read mine, then I'll read his, and then I'll tell you why I think his is better. I mean, I'm going to do that. I'd love to see it. And, I mean, this would be a real, give me a real sense of achievement. If I could find somebody who can write better than me, okay, and I get that guy focused on writing, okay, or I help him in any way, even just discovering it, you know, I mean, that's going to be immensely satisfying for me. I mean, even if you're like, you know, Orpheus in Tampa is on, you know, we assign it an arbitrary 10. Okay, even if you make it to 8, you know, I'll read your thing online and praise what I think is praiseworthy and comment, critique, and suggest. See? But that's our writer's workshop. Now I've given us, this is a new paradigm, okay, for a writer's workshop, which I think can be more successful than any in its history, which is 50, 60 years. It doesn't cost anything. It's going to be fun. It's going to be more fun also. And, you know, at the very least, you know, I'm going to be introducing you to different kinds of prose. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of prose. There's Hermann Hesse, you know, there's Thomas Mann, Death in Venice, Hermann Hesse, Steppenwolf, Steppenwolf, Steppenwolf. Dubliners. Why haven't I mentioned that? My God, that's my favorite prose. It's James Joyce Dubliners, and my favorite short stories, and everybody's the ones that are anthologized. Okay. The Boarding House. This is on your list of assignments here, okay? I haven't given you anything that's, you know, that time-consuming. You know, you read one page of Steppenwolf, okay? Read one fairly long Thomas Mann short story, Death in Venice. Okay. Read. No, I take it back. I've given you a week of work, maybe. Okay. So I'm not going to give you more assignment, except for the Boarding House, Evelyn, and Araby. 3 short stories in Dubliners, which is a collection of short stories by James Joyce. See, I'm exposing you. See, these fools are still exposing you to Flannery O'Connor. You don't have time for that. You know, to find out how not to write. Okay. And you only have time for the very, very best. Okay. So you put those 3 short stories on your list. I'm giving you too much to do, man. What am I doing? Right now, just focus on, I want at least 2 pages. A 2-page, no, you can't do a 2-page. A 5-page short story based on the plot I've given you from The Jewels. Okay? At least 5 handwritten pages, okay? At least. That's what I want everybody to focus on now. And then then step 2, you're going to read the Guide de Maupassant and see how yours compares. What did he do that you didn't do? It's going to bring things to your attention. Wait a minute, look at how you describe the wife. You know, I could sure do a better job. You see what I'm talking about? Okay. This comparison of your work to Guide de Maupassant's, and then you're going to compare your work to my work. Okay. And if your work is as good, I better know about it. You better tell us about it, because I'm going to read it to the 2,000 guys here. I'm going to be praising you to the skies. I want to get you guys fired up, man. Remember, no more video games. Okay? no idiot entertainment. You know, and Netflix series, shit like that. You know, cut way down on the booze and the pot. You know, or cut it out completely if you can. Lots of exercise. Oh, your speed exercise. Do those speed exercises where you get on your exercycle or your jump rope and you become breathless. You're going so fast. You go until you can't go anymore, which might be 30 seconds. That's all it is for me. And do that a few times a day. And that's going to get your mitochondria multiplying. It's going to give you more energy. We need energy. We need focus. Okay? So let's, you know what we're doing here is I'm allowing you to discover your potential as a writer, aren't I? That's what we're doing. You know, you do this exercise and you're going to find out about yourself. You're going to find out something you probably don't know. And that is what potential you have as a creative writer. Somebody that can make a living. You know, writing, hopefully not writing thrillers or romances, hopefully writing, great literature. That's what I want you to do. But it's going to be an interesting exploration. Where you're going not outside, you're going inside, see? It's going to be an internal psychic exploration for you. What have you got down there? See, what have you got? You're going to give us what you got, see? Okay, I hope I got you guys fired up and you get on this exercise for us, okay? And I won't expect to get any results by tomorrow, but maybe something is going to surprise me. I mean, Candide, Voltaire wrote Candide in 3 days. I wrote Orpheus in Tampa in somewhere between 10 and 7, probably closer to 7. And I never had to edit it. I'm going to look it over again with my brother, but I never edited it. This is as it came out of my daimonic energy, product of pure daimonic energy. Okay, so get to work on this stuff, guys. And I want to hear some results. Also, you got to like and you got to subscribe, please. And then I don't want 2,000. I want 20,000 guys doing this. Come on, let's spread the word here. There are 20,000 people taking writer's workshops in the country. They're paying good money. Thousands of dollars they're paying. And they're spending 10 times as much time as you guys are going to spend on the subject. See? And this other stuff is social crusader stuff. And woke and you know what to expect. I mean, you had this going on. You had social crusading, coming out of the Writers' Workshop of Iowa. That's 50 years ago. More, with Flannery O'Connor. It's just stupid, outlandish bullshit today. It's not believable. And then people just, they ate it up. And a lot of people still eat it. They'll still think it's something of this world, something that could happen in this world. The barber berating his customer for being a nigger lover, pardon my French. Imagine that. So stupid. Yeah, Homer said, against God, against stupidity, even the gods struggle in vain. So get to work, guys, and I'll be back with more tomorrow. How do I hit this stream thing? And I'm going to try to bring tech into this. I promise you that. It's not easy, man. He's just on safari 24/7. I mean, the opportunities today are so endless for a guy like him. The great white hunter, that's him. Well, you turn it off, man.
I'm working on it.
He's working on it. Okay. Man, all I need is a time machine.